Eastern Illinois head coach Adam Cushing. The Panthers played FBS South Carolina this past week, their second game of the year. They're already going to play their third game, and they're going to go to Dayton. That is on Saturday at noon. Facebook Live has that game coverage. So, Coach, just start off thoughts on the South Carolina game, and then we'll go with some questions after that.
Well, obviously, we played a really good football team that's really well coached in South Carolina, and you got to give them a lot of credit, man. They made a ton of plays. And we started off all right on defense. We actually, came out and played pretty decent on defense, but we just kind of shot ourselves in the foot on both sides of the ball as the game went along. And again, you play a really, really good football team, a well-coached football team, and they took advantage of their opportunities and made the plays they needed to make. And then we just flat out didn't. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's same thing from a week ago, and that's on us as coaches. We've got to put them in better positions to make the plays they need to make.
Perfect, Coach. Thanks. Got a couple questions here submitted to me. Last week you talked about the biggest improvements for a team between week 1 and 2, but given the key injuries that you've had coming out of Indiana State and the challenge of playing an SEC team on the road, are measurements of those improvements hard to gauge right now? This is going to take another week or so to sort of see what those improvements are.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no. Certainly, it's easier to gauge a full strength, but at the same point, it's more about us just playing our best version of football. Unfortunately, we still had a few self-inflicted wounds. Again, you play a really, really good football team, and you just cannot beat yourself and the other team on the same day. And so we made some strides in some things, and I know the score probably didn't reflect that. But we definitely made some strides. There were some good things that we did, but we've just got to continue to take that next step and finish and just not beat ourselves.
So you play a different quarterback this week. Thoughts on Chris's performance and 13 completions for the game, and just what you've seen out of your quarterback so far this season?
Yeah, I thought Chris did a great job stepping in and certainly battled. He got hit a bunch in that game, and we've got to give the O-line a little better protection plan. We've got to get them coached up a little bit better. We've got to get the running backs to protect them better. But he had an incredible amount of poise in the game. I was really, really proud with the way that he went in there and battled, especially after the first play. An interception that gets batted up in the air, and didn't let it rattle him, didn't take him off his game. He just continued to go out there and play. So we got the best problem in the world, which is two pretty darn good quarterbacks, and that's an exciting place to be sitting here. And they make each other better, right? The competition breeds excellence, and they both are. It's really pushing each other to step up in practice and in games.
Follow up on that then too. Obviously, you can practice all you want. The game action experience is the most important, right? For them to get better, push each other, and then see what they can do, especially against a big time opponent like an SEC team.
Yeah, I mean, you see in both of the last two games, both quarterbacks, they play a very similar game. I mean, that's a good thing for Coach Coos and the offensive staff. They don't have to have a couple of different game plans. They both play a similar style of game, and they both can make some plays with their feet. And they both can make some plays off script, right? And that's hard to do in practice because the quarterback's not getting hit, the defense stays away from them, all that stuff. So you don't really see the breakdown in plays quite as much in practice. That's more of a game thing. And it was good to, it's been good the first 2 weeks to see them both, extend plays with their feet, either, take off and run with it or just keep their eyes downfield.
The next question I got from Dan is, this past summer, Matt Judd coached a flag football team from, and I'm going to say this wrong, Tuscola, and talked about what a great experience it was. And the championship game was actually played at EIU. Do you have any idea how that title game came to be about and that experience for Matt?
Yeah. So, Matt, I mean, Matt's got a goal to get into coaching and teaching when he's done. And he's just one of the best young men you'll ever meet. He's always looking for ways to volunteer, give back to the community. And so he was just looking for a way to do that. And, it's kind of funny. It's a little bit how I started my coaching career. I coached Little League Baseball when I was 16 years old. So he just, you get into it and find a way to give back to people. And then Matt, was obviously intimately involved in the entire league. And Matt reached out to me and said, "Hey, any chance we can get that at O'Brien? Get the championship games at O'Brien." And so, he let me come out and be the honorary coin flipper and all that fun stuff. So it was a really cool experience. There's a really neat league. They had great fan support. Really fun experience for the summer.
And Matt has made a big difference, obviously, in your return game in his time in EIU. Can you just talk to like what he brings to that atmosphere or that aspect of your team?
Yeah, fearless is probably the word I would describe Matt as, right? He's one of those guys that he's going to want to return every single ball. He doesn't care, you know, we give him guidelines, and the great part about him is he takes the coaching, and so but he'll look at you a little bit sideways when you tell him this one's a fair catch if it goes into the end zone. You know, he's like he thinks he's scoring every play, which is what the great ones have, right? He thinks he's going to make a big play. He really believes that. He believes in the guys around him. That's what's cool about it is every time that he's had a strong return, he's the first guy talking about the guys that have been blocking for him. And so he just, you see a big, long guy like that. You don't expect them to be one of those guys that just puts their nose down and hit it. And he's really, really been good at that.
So the final question from Dan was, this Saturday is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. He just wanted to know what your recollection was of that day in 2001. And is there anything your team is doing special to commemorate the anniversary?
Yeah, my recollection, it was my senior year in college. I was playing college football still, and I was in the athletic training room Tuesday morning, getting my body right for the game that weekend. And when everything kind of broke, and then we were one of the few teams actually that played that weekend. And so, obviously Division I, I don't think many played Division III football. And so it was that part of it has always been special to me to say that we still went on and played, right? The terror that was inflicted upon the country, the attack inflicted upon the country, and certainly we had to heal from it. But some of healing when terror comes is saying that you can't intimidate us, right? That we're going to go do what we do. And so that opportunity, and we coincidentally we won the game too on a pretty big play late, and so it's really burned into my memory, coinciding with football, right? Football is my life, and then just that whole thing. So in terms of doing something special, certainly it's something that we're going to talk about just throughout the week of how fortunate we are to be doing what we're doing, obviously with everything that's gone on overseas here in the last couple of weeks and all that. Just the ability to put things in perspective is really what I think that the honor of that day is, and how many people have sacrificed for our ability to play this wonderful game, to have these relationships with other human beings in this football team, in this locker room, all that stuff. It's just you have to use their incredible memory. That's how I believe you honor those soldiers and all those people that passed on that day.
Final question I have for you. So you're going to play Dayton, who hasn't played because they had their game canceled because their opponent had some COVID issues. So how do you tell me a little bit about Dayton, but how do you prepare for a team who hasn't played a game this year? And they didn't play last year too. So you got to look back at 2019.
Yeah, welcome to our first 3 weeks, right? I mean, between Indiana State doing the same thing, right, and then a new coaching staff with South Carolina. So it's like Groundhog Day over here. We just keep finding some old stuff that we're looking at. At some point, it'd be nice to actually watch the people that we're playing, right? So no, they're what they are is a really, really well coached football team. You look at Coach Chamberlain over the years. They're a team that does not beat themselves. They got a really good quarterback. They have a really good running back. They're going to be a little bit younger on the offensive line, but they've got an All-American at safety, and he is a great football player. I mean, this dude is all over the field. He finds the football. He gets them in the right play. He gets them in the right coverages and the right adjustments, all that stuff. And so, it's going back to that older stuff, certainly, and just trying to, project forward with the personnel that they have now and all that stuff. But I mean, this is a team that in 2015, 2017, and 2019, the last time they played, beat an FCS scholarship football team, right? And whether it's a team in our conference or a team in the Missouri Valley. So, I mean, because they don't beat themselves, they play really, really solid football. They got good talent in the backfield with the quarterback and the running back. I mean, this is going to be one of those, it's going to go down to the wire like they all do because of how they play football. I really, really admire the way Coach Chamberlain has built the program to just not beat themselves, line up and do their job on every single play.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time this morning. Best of luck this weekend, and then we'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Go Panthers.